Hey everybody, welcome to YouTube Mall Builders. Tonight is Johnny's Mall Train Talk live. Yeah, want to say the Tuesday, Wednesday shows are at 8 o'clock Central, 9 o'clock Eastern Time. Thursday show is 9 o'clock Central, 10 o'clock Eastern Time. And let's see, I think I had some kind of announcement to make, and I think I just lost it here. I know this is the end of the month, but anyhow, we'll run through April, first part of April. April the 4th is going to be the Arduino show, and it should be the fast clock that Chris Healy's brother's doing, David. And then April the 10th is going to be the Fine Scale show with Andy, Miles, and Ralph. And so we'll be starting out a new month with some good shows there. All right, let me do a transition over here. And here we are. Uh-oh. What happened? I got a blank screen. Oh, I clicked the wrong thing. Alrighty. Well, we got a few over here in the panel. We got Big Bill, Phil, Ron from Down Under, Cabana Bob, Mr. Jerry, Greg, and Railroad Video. Yeah, let's see. We got, if nobody recognizes the new guy here, he decided since he had to go to Alabama, he might better have to shave, so he shaved his beard and everything. So this is D-Bob from D-Bob's Man Cave, in case you don't recognize him. Then we got Jim up here, and we got Andy with us too. So how's everybody doing?
Good. Doing good.
Yeah, I figured Big Bill will be over at the baseball stadium today's opening day. Try to get some autographs. Big Belby. Alright, anyway. Yeah, it's warming up over us. Reason why Jim's probably not wearing the sock hat.
Yeah, we're warming up a little. Still rain.
Yeah, Bill said the Mets won. One down, 161 to go.
That's the spirit.
Yeah. Alright, well, I figured we'd do something a little different tonight. And sing about doing bridges. We can talk about bridges in a little while. Or was that what I was talking about, Andy? Or yards?
Yeah. They're both.
Yeah.
So I grabbed a few pictures of the ones I've got to build before long, too. Probably should have already got started on them. Another one of those procrastination things. I've got 4 of them to build. They're fairly massive. So.
Yeah. Hopefully Bob might have a few pictures on the laptop, maybe.
For bridges, maybe.
Ones that you did?
Well, yeah, the one I did, I probably may or may not have that on there.
Okay.
Well, most likely on Facebook, though. If anything.
Yeah.
And I did to build a couple of those. You scratched that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I got to build a
popsicle
couple.
sticks.
Oh, really?
Well, I used, I made a couple bridges. I made one out of popsicle sticks and the other one out of little kind of woodcraft sticks and 1/8 inch dowel, and just kind of put it all together.
Yeah, that's kind of what I need to build. I need to build 2 fairly short that just go over a creek, and it's kind of interesting seeing coming around a curve, 2 turnouts opposing each other. They go out and through a diamond. Both of them are 2 branch lines headed up 2 different hollers, is what you would call it, but a hollow or a valley, whatever. Right. But 2 hollers, you know. They go out, they go across a diamond, and across 2 short pile trestles, which most of the time, any trestles on my line would have been square stock, you know, 10 by 10, 12 by 12, 14 by 14 stuff. But these, I'm pretty sure, are round stock. All the kickbacks and stuff are all, you know, 4 by 10, 4 by 12, something like 2 by 12, something like that. But it's round poles. So I was just thinking about building it with skewers and squares and some scale lumber for the.
Yeah. Well,
but I wish I could still do wood trestles on this line, but they had replaced everything with steel. All the mainline stuff's replaced with steel by 1950.
I guess it depends on the era that you're modeling.
I mean, there's wood trestles, plenty of them still in service. I mean, just recently, Robert showed us we did a Google with Street View, Google Maps, and this bridge, it has concrete approaches or whatever, bridges on the approach on each side. It's still got 2 pieces of wood trestle in it. One of them's quite dynamic going through the town, and a big steel section in the middle. It had 4 different types or something like that across. I mean, just a crazy span, and that's current day. I mean,
because you had concrete, steel, and wood on that. So.
Yep, and a couple of different segments of the wood. They had left the wood in one short place as it approached the steel, and then one. I mean, it looked like it had been modified. Like they had the wood trestle, and then they come in and put a piece of steel in the middle of it. A steel, like a box truss or something, and then sometime later we replaced the approaches on each side that go over a highway with concrete. So, I mean, there's still wood trestles out there on production lines, not on big primary main lines generally, but
yeah. Bill was asking, are these bridges custom built or kit bridges? Either one we'll talk about tonight.
But I can't build anything directly out of a box. The trestles out to scratch, but the big kit bridges, I'll show you guys some pictures when we start sharing pictures, but the big steel trestles that they're a couple 100 feet, 180 feet tall, and quite a few 100 feet long, and there's 4 of them, and they'll take a bunch of kits and microengineering stuff. So, I mean, it's definitely not a scratch build, but it's surely a kit bash.
Yeah, Jerry is asking, I'm in N-scale. Does that mean I need to eat real small popsicles?
Yes. Yes.
And then Curtis was going, what about the ones that are for cars going over tracks? Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of places for wood, and I may have to build one of the kind of arch bridges. They're kind of angular, but there's a name for that. But Monroe Models makes a really nice one of those that I would probably, really nice kit that I would probably use, because those were nearly identical all over the country.
Yeah, the viaduct stuff.
I saw a hybrid bridge last night when I was out looking around at CSX here in Birmingham, and I got run off anyway. But I saw this neat little bridge, but it was a road bridge going over the yard, and it was mostly wooden trestle. It looked like a train trestle, but it was a road bridge going over the top. But inside the structure was steel beams, bracing everything up. It was that rickety, I guess. And so I'm like, well, this is weird. I never really thought about that.
So there's a lot of them out there.
Yeah. They're just patching it up. I mean, it's just a bridge going over the tracks over to the landfill. So it was just kind of like, kind of weird.
Did you get a chance to get any pictures before they run you off?
No, I didn't. I saw some trains moving on. Oh, trains! I'm gonna go down there, and I get right there, and there's a guy off to the side, and he's in his maintenance truck, and he comes over to see what I'm doing. I says, I'm just watching trains. Well, this is our property. I could barely understand this guy. He was really Southern, that really Southern drawl, kind of like okay.
Well, your photos would have looked pretty rough from handcuffs anyway. It just, handcuff photography is really, really difficult.
Yeah.
Rail fanning is tough these days. I mean, back when I did any rail fanning at all back in the 90s, you go talk to the guys. If they were close, they'd pull up close to you. And, talk to you. I mean, it was nice as it could be, but you kind of got to understand why they got the way they did. So
he told me that. Well, I'm just trying to find out who you were. I didn't know who you were, and what you're doing here. I was like, well, I'm just watching trains, But well, we had 30 drunk people drinking beer on the main line last night.
Yeah.
What? What kind of idiots are out there on the main line drinking beer?
What, all the accidents? Weren't you the guy telling us about the kid that got hit on a bridge down there? Was that you?
That was in Omaha.
So, I mean, it's not their fault, obviously. The railroad can't do anything about it, but they still have to deal with it. It still hurts productivity. It's still legal questions and problems, and it doesn't look good for PR in a town. So, anybody rail fanning, you really got to do it at some distance these days. I mean, telephoto lenses are kind of the bee's knees for current rail fanning.
Yeah. But I was just out there using my GPS and Google Maps, basically going, oh, okay, I can go over here and go over there. Of a train blocking the road, like one of the only roads out of the whole area, and the train's blocking it, just waiting to go. And so I'm driving around trying to get around, like, no. I could have gotten out. There was 2 roads I could have gone, but I just come from there. Like, I'm not going to go all the way back. So I heard some air in the lines getting pressurized. I went, okay, they're about ready to leave. So I videotaped that whole train leaving. Pretty long train. A lot of tank cars and reefers and a whole string of intermodal at the end. So it was about a 10-15 minute video of this train just pulling out. And so it was pretty good. It was an okay night last night. But yeah, it's
been up at the start of it then.
Yeah, I was about maybe 5 cars back from the last engine when it started. So,
but it takes a long time to get prepped. That's something I think we miss as modelers, is the time. We do things as if we're shuffling around cars that weigh, a quarter pound. We're not doing it like this stuff is massively heavy equipment, that if you went at it, if you went at the prototype like modelers want to go at it, you'd get big killed. So, I mean, I'm trying to build it. I'm trying to figure out exactly how to build that into JMRI, to manipulate that in JMRI so I can force that slowdown operationally.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of wait. Hurry up and wait for this signal to switch green for you to go. It's you gotta wait for someone else to get done waiting and move their train out of the way. Which I saw on Sunday when I got here. I went downtown and there's an old Union Pacific, well, not Union Station, a railroad station right there. And so I was watching trains go across in front of that. And there was one train just sitting there on the siding, big auto rack train, just sitting there waiting. I'm like, okay, what's he waiting for? I get down to this area. Oh, okay, his switch isn't switched yet because it was right below the walkage over the top. Oh, okay, he's waiting for that. And then I see on the other side, coming the other direction, another train coming out of one of the other small yard lines, and okay. Didn't even hear the switch or see the switch move. I went, dang it, I missed it. I was going to record that. Like, I never get to see the switch move. It was right there, and I got distracted with something else. Like, okay, here comes that train. It comes right through. And I'm waiting for the switch to switch back so the other train can come through, and nope, missed that one too. Dang it. But yeah. Pretty good viewing there, I guess.
Marty from Down Under just come in and said good day. Andrews popped in too, and he said he just got home from the hospital. He had another heart attack. Hope you're doing a lot better now, Marty. I mean, Andrew. I know Marty's doing all right.
Huh. Still no toe tag.
Oh, Ralph.
Howdy, howdy.
Ralph.
Hey, Ralph.
What's new and exciting, guys?
Ralph's a good guy to talk to about bridges. I mean, he's got a bunch of unique ones on his, from wood trestle. I love the wood going over the port seat. That's my favorite on his layout.
The one going over what?
The port.
Oh,
The
yeah,
seaport.
my harbor. Yeah.
In the harbors, whatever. Yeah, that bridge. I mean, I could never use it. It wouldn't be prototypical or accurate at all for anything approximating an Appalachian Railroad. But it's a spectacular. It's just spectacular engineering. I mean, just
It's Marty's mini-me. Marty's asking, who's the new guy in the hat? I was saying, that's Marty's mini-me.
Yeah, read my name. Well, what's new with me is I'm growing back the mustache really slowly right now.
like as we speak.
As we speak. You know, I'll shave the beard off one more time for tomorrow, and then who knows?
And then surprise the wife.
Yep. I may shave it Saturday morning just so it's smoother when I get home.
Ooh.
She usually goes, I missed that. I missed it.
Smoother.
I'm like, yeah, it won't be smooth when I get home. 7 hours later. So it'll be close.
I am not even going to touch that one, Marty. I'm not starting no international wars.
Oh, yeah.
Man,
No.
That's good. I'm glad there's no controversial topics that I'm targeted by. So.
Oh, yes, there is.
Anyway,
Don't be so quick.
Show
Don't
some
be
of
so quick to say no.
There's a dozen. I'm just glad it's you this time. So.
Oh, okay. All right.
I'm
You're
easy.
forgiven this time.
I'm easy to stir up.
Yeah, but you're expensive.
You saying Andy's high maintenance?
I'll say it again. So,
Oh, you want to show us some of those pictures, Andy?
Yeah. Show you what I got to build. So there's 4 that go up through. I pulled them all out so I could pop through them. So this is what made me model this. So this is helper district. So everything's being shoved up through there. And they're double heading the passenger train with those locomotives, which is not uncommon. These are not little bridges. I mean, these are big boys. And there's 4 of them and a bunch of super tight tunnels. Basically everything we generally love about railroading. They're also way up on the top deck of my layout, which is up about 80 some inches. About 81, 82 inches. So you're looking up.
So the angle you're going to have is just like those pictures.
That's right. And a lot of these are from the road level. And when I was growing up, and I'd drive down this road or ride down this road through here, you always see the railroad, at least through this section, way up on the side of the mountain. So modeling it up above my view is the way I'm used to seeing this.
Okay.
So, and I think I'm going to have fit 4. So you see one here in front and one back, whatever, 20 cars back in the train as it goes through that second cut back there. There's another one. There's 2 of these bridges, an upper and a lower bridges that they call them.
Central Valley makes a beautiful kit of that.
Well, I knew Microengineering has their steel train. Yeah,
I thought it was
Microengineering.
Central Valley.
But I love Central Valley's. The detail of Central Valley. Also, see that yellow colored rust that happens?
Yep.
I got some yellow ochre, which I'll have to obviously tone down unless I want it to look like a a sunflower. But I've got some to try to mix with what I've got. And see, this one, I'm definitely going to model this one. When you first walk in the room, immediately facing you as you stand up past the, well, it's a nod under a short guy like me, but a duck under for like a normal human. When you stand up, this bridge will be immediately in your face up above you. You'll be looking at about halfway up the height of the bridge, but it pops straight out of a tunnel, you know, out of the hillside. Yeah. There's one on a line whether I actually show you several, especially along the rat hole, like Bill Baronic did that show on the CNO and TP line from Cincinnati to Chattanooga. They call it the rat hole. That's the one I need to be building right now. I've kind of pieced it together, but I haven't finished it. That one has cool and different. Well, there's a bunch different about this one, honestly, but the piers are quite different than what the Norfolk Western used, because that's a Clinchfield bridge going through town. But these are big bridges. I mean, that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, whatever, 10, 12 passenger cars plus that locomotive, and it's not even at the end of the bridge. Those are 85-foot passenger cars or whatever. So
I think there's more people than that watching it.
Yeah.
But this was I think this picture was taken.
A rail fanning trip.
It was, but it was like in the 60s or something. I can't remember, but there was a time before they shut the A down the first time. I think. I'm not positive about that. I built this one. I built this one so far. I built the end points out of styrofoam, but it was my first go at it. I'm going to build it at least another time, if not a couple more times, to get it right. Because I tend to do now the Norfolk Western done some funny things. They have these water breakaways on the ends, but they only have not in some places they have them on both sides, but in a lot of places they only have them on the upstream side. Nobody makes that, so it has poor lines in it.
Explain water breakaway. What do you?
Oh, mean? It has this this little this little pitch, the angle out the front of it where it's pitched. It's not a square or rounded edge. It's got a
everywhere that I've seen bridges, the north side of the river is always pointed. If there's any freezing whatsoever or any debris that's going to come down, that's what it's for, to deflect it away.
Yeah, but most prototype pictures that I've looked at, and in most places, even on the Southern Railroad, a lot of others that are now part of the Norfolk Western system, they will have water breaks on either side. However,
but a river only flows one way.
That's right. I don't know why they do that, just as a standard, but they do. And for whatever reason they did that. But no manufacturer makes that. Eventually, this is Cooper's Viaduct. This was fairly renowned on the Pocahontas district. Eventually, I will have to build this when I have a new basement. I wanted to model this line. I actually targeted modeling this line just in the space that I'm in a 15 by 15 room. There's no way that I could do this double track, high-speed main line where passenger trains run 70 to 90 miles an hour. On my little branch line, the passenger train's the fastest thing on the line at 30, 35 miles an hour. So it's much more operatable. But I wanted to model this. And I wanted to model Cooper's. But I just couldn't see. And that's another, this is one of the rust. This is a little more intense rust than what I need to model for my era. But that's the color scheme that I'm trying to capture. And, I had a little bit of a hard time getting. I just have not got that color yet. Everything I've done has just not been that bright, which is probably because I'm not that bright. But I have not yet.
You've got darker rust than that.
Yeah, everything I've done. I'll even show you in a second the one that I've done.
Yeah, because Wally's Weathering wanted to know if you have any pictures of the bridge you built.
Why did the rust turn yellow like that?
Yeah, mine. I can take the camera over there. Actually, I can probably just go lift it out and bring it over here. I've got to get. So a lot of the bridges rust like this. They're quite spotty, and they bleach out something fierce, and they bleach out real spotty. And so I've still got to work on doing that. I think I'm going to try. Of course, I mean, Ralph's techniques have proven well so far. It's just about finding the right colors, and well, it's honestly, it's just doing a lot more of it so that I get better at it. So I just need to do that. But I've had a hard time getting the color, getting that bright of a rust color on it, or even getting that bleaching. Most importantly, the spotty rust. That hasn't proven to be that difficult using Ralph's technique, but with the sponge and spotting it on, that's worked pretty well. But the color is still wrong, and I have not at all captured the white bleaching effect.
Why does that rust turn yellow like that? I've never seen that before.
It's area of the country.
fresh runoff.
So
this like orangish.
So that's it. I have not been, and the camera doesn't really. I'm a lot happier with it until I look at it on camera, but because the top edge of it looks pretty rough to me. But in person, it's not as awful. But I need a lot of work and a lot of practice, and I've even oversprayed it, with a dilute white. It just followed Ralph's techniques, but I haven't been able to get the bleaching, the spotty bleaching, or that light enough color on it. So I did get some yellow ochre, so I think I will be able to get that color with some more practice. And this is an interesting, especially this bridge is interesting on my layout because of the placement. Until I build lower decks, assuming that I ever build lower decks in this room before I move the layout, until I build lower decks, your first view of a train coming out of staging, for the most part, is on this bridge. And this is the only place on the railroad where my main line comes within 2 or 3 inches of the front fascia. It comes out from the back edge of the layout all the way out to the front. Then goes across this bridge on this 86 or 88 inch radius, something in that neighborhood. But it's got an easement on it because one side of the bridge, there's a turnout right off the bridge, and this has 2 approach spans too that are deck girders. And again, I'll build this bridge over again before before I'm happy with it. But I had to do a lot of, and this microengineering parts. But I had to cut and modify them a lot to get the curvature that it has on it, and then these, I forget what they're called, but the cross bracing, the perpendicular components, they look like on the pictures I've got that they're every two breaks in the material or in the sides of the girders. So, but the microengineering kit calls for it to be every 3. So I had to modify it a lot to get it to be more appropriate to the prototype I was modeling. And then cut it all up to actually get all the under bracing and stuff on it.
How you doing, Dave?
Hi there, how you doing?
Hey, Dave.
Good, Dave.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
No.
Perfect. Yeah, Marty, I got a lot of bridges to build. The things we love about, the exciting things about railroads, bridges, crazy operational things, totals, some of that stuff. That's what this line is so good for. 2.5% grade in totals that you can't haul a high cube box car through. Still to this day, they've never opened those tunnels up. You can't pull an auto racks through it or stacks. You can pull just a single container through it. If the track is out of alignment by more than about 6 inches, the locomotives drag on the sidewalls of the tunnel. They're tight. And you've got 5 of those in a row with bridges intermixed between them. It's a really exciting, really interesting railroad line. And there's 5 Class 1 railroads interchanging within about 20 miles of each other. So there's a lot of that.
Yeah, Wally said that Microengineering Central Valley make awesome bridge kits.
I like the Central Valley detail ever so slightly better, like the rivets and such. Not that I'm a rivet counter, but I like the rivets better on the Central Valley kit. But the ME kits are. But you got to buy some mini. I built 2 bridges so far, and I'm starting to work on the 3rd that goes in the city, the one that I showed you that's silver. and I bought 10 ME kits and miscellaneous girders and stuff so far. I've got a box of parts, but I've mostly used, enough parts to build. I don't have enough parts to build much more than maybe a single bridge or something down left. So when I order all the stuff to build these 5 bridges that go on the top deck, each bridge will take at least 2 kits and a height extension kit. So it's at least $150 worth of ME parts for each bridge, and there's 4 of them. Plus, I need a bunch of miscellaneous parts to actually put it together. So I'll order, 10 or 12 kits when I order them.
If you want a cheap hobby, don't do model railroads.
And it's subject. Model railroading is very variable with price. I find so far my railroad hasn't cost me that much money. Now locomotives and things like that you can spend all kinds of money, but if you're counting the layout itself, it hasn't cost me that much money. But my methods are fairly inexpensive. But I scratch so much stuff, and I use so many natural materials stuff. So it hasn't cost me that much money. We were talking about it recently. My numbers are a lot lower than most, but my layout's not up and fully operational, and and I think you can compensate for cost a lot if you will trade labor for cost. So if you'll fast tracks your turnouts, or I scratch my turnouts in a different way than that, but if you build your track work, you will save a pretty decent amount of money. If you'll use a DCC++, that's a $30 DCC system, and you can buy a $30 phone or use whatever phone you've got to run trades with. You can do it quite inexpensively, and I could build a shelf down 115-foot wall would take me 3 pieces of foam at $30-some a sheet, so call it $100, and that, the gallon of paint, some ground up paper, and I'm good to go all the way to the level of dirt, and about $100. So you can't build a 2x4 module that you won't spend $100 worth of wood. So I mean, it's a much cheaper mechanism for building, and I didn't intend for it to be cheaper. It just happened to work out.
Yeah, Andrew, we did talk about that, but he was saying that the wedge on the back face of the bridges is to stop the water from undercutting the base.
We didn't talk about that, from washing out the foundation of it. But they did not, the Norfolk and Western, at least on my branch line, did not do the cutaway wedge on the downstream side of the bridge. And no manufacturer makes a kit like that. So after a lot of experimentation and play, the guy from Crow River, and he does builders in scale and stuff, he would consider building them for me, or even the guy from New England Brownstone, where I bought my abutments and stuff from so far, that he makes them out of dental plaster, and they're superb. And he said he would take a look at building them too, but I just don't need that many. And I think I may have the best luck. And so far I built them out of styrofoam, but they're adequate. They hold the track up, but they don't look awful. But you can't get the texture of the wood that happened from the planking they did to pour the concrete in, the forms is left in it. So I think I'm going to use either the wood that Jimmy Simmons does, Monster Model Works, or I've got some actual plaster sheet that has the forms molded into it. I got it right here because I keep looking at it. I'll find it in a minute and show it to you. But one way or the other. While you're doing
that, Dave, we started out talking about railroad bridges. We get time, we may go into yards too. But if you got any pictures of bridges there in England,
oh, loads.
That would be interesting to see too. I think some of the bridges in England there.
Andy was talking about my bridges, so I have them all set up here if you want to go through them first.
All right. Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. So there's one of the ones. I haven't finished it yet. What I did is a 1-inch or 3/4 inch aluminum channel, and I just glued the plate girder on the side. So now I have to build the bents to go underneath it. And it's similar to a Central Valley Bridge or micro-engineering. That's one.
How long is that?
8 feet.
Wow.
Total is 8 feet long. This here was
something like that too on mine.
This was scratch built, and it was scratch built for my other layout.
Question for
So
you. Are there many girder bridges like that in the US anymore?
yes,
Oh yeah, yeah. I was just showing a bit before you come on. I'll show you after this show ends if you have your reference. There's 4 in a row on the line I'm modeling. Those steel girders like that.
so this was scratch built for my other layout, and I figured I'm not going to throw this out. So I cut out the centerpiece, built this part for my river to come through, and I'm going to have a waterfall down in here. So Andy says he uses styrofoam for everything. I only use it as a build-up. Then I put sculpt-a-mold and plaster cloth and so on. But that's my base. And that's what it looked like when it's done.
That's
Wally
impressive.
said, were you channeling John Allen, Ralph?
No, not quite. It's Northern Ontario and British Columbia. That's the way it is. It's just rocks all over the place. Great big rock cut faces and so on. This is a European bridge. I think it's a Faller kit. I can't remember now.
Yeah,
But it was meant for two main lines, and I have only single main line. So what I ended up doing is I put a plate girder bridge on top of it to make it look more North American.
You know, the weird thing is the angle with the stone thing, the stone in the background. It gave it. It looked like it was almost twisting. That previous photo you had.
Yeah. But that's it in place. There's my harbor that Andy was talking about. There's a boat launch area, and this bridge here is connected via this stone abutment. And then that goes into my helix. So there's the other end of it.
Nice.
This is behind me. This is the entrance to my cold cellar. So this is a pull-out gate. There's the hinge there. And this leads into that 8-foot-long bridge. So in this area, although I didn't bring the picture up, but in this area underneath, because the cold cellar I use for my storage of the wine that I make, I put a vineyard in between these rock pilings. That's it.
Just in case you forget what's back there or something? Is that a reminder?
No. Not to forget. I already know what's there.
Absolutely.
But I just thought it was appropriate. A vineyard going into my wine cellar.
Now you might appreciate this. I'll show you just a bit of street down the road from me, Stockport. And this is a viaduct that was built in, oh gosh, it's about 200 years old now. And it's the main line that goes from Manchester to London. And it is
tracks.
huge.
4 tracks across it?
Yes, I think it's at least 4. It might be 5.
Wow, that's a big boy.
There you go. You can see it's very long. Let me just zoom out for you.
I think I put my train simulator across something like that.
Yeah. So I mean, let's chuck the measuring tool in. So the start of it is approximately there, and it finishes here, and that's 1,700 feet. So it's a big bridge. We've got all sorts of ones like that around. Yeah, this is Newcastle. So Newcastle is basically on a river, and we have 2 railway bridges there. You can see this is, I think that's the Flying Scotsman actually.
Yeah.
So we've got the main road bridge there, and then we've got it's like an oval loop. If I show you where it is, it'll give you a better impression. So it's this section here. So it's taken from about here, looking that way, and so there's the big Tyne Bridge there. That's the bridge with the Flying Scotsman on, and this one here is the nearby bridge.
Which one has the arch on
it? This bridge here.
It's in behind the Flying Scotsman.
Is this one? Yeah,
that's
the
like a highway.
arch bridge is in the background. Yeah. So it's this bridge here, compared to the railway bridge, which is this one and this one. This is a bridge I went over a few months ago. This is Brunel, if you've heard of Brunel. This was one of the first suspension bridges in the world. Maybe the first, I don't know. It's limited by the fact it's single line, but back then, you know, trains didn't need to be quite so frequent. So on this side, it singles, and then on the other side, it doubles again. I just have general. That's just down the road from me. Effectively, I just have photos of bridges and viaducts and things in this. But there you go. It says interesting girder bridge.
Interesting paint job.
Yeah. This is one of the freight ones. It doesn't take anything anymore. That's been closed. The yard reduced. This is the Newcastle Bridge. So this is the nearby one from those ones a moment ago. There it is again. This is the centre of Manchester, so this is between Manchester Victoria, Manchester Oxford Road and Manchester Piccadilly. And also, if you notice that they've just nailed on the overhead wires to the outside because it didn't have clearance. There's another one, West Coast Main Line. Another one outside of Newcastle. And I love these big girder bridges. They just have a lot of, you know, they're moody. The colours are dark and...
It's a booty bridge.
The Moody Blues sing about it all the time. No?
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
That's the Newcastle one again. So that first photo I shot was probably taken over there somewhere, pointing this. No, actually, so no, it wasn't. It was pointed more to the left, so the other one would be this direction. Bridge. It's a false perspective one. It doesn't look quite as big as that.
Or grade going up that.
Now, this is the approach to London Euston, and the tracks just interweave all over the place. And we have some very, very tall bridges because, you know, a road needed to go over it, and then they just dug a hole. You know, they dug a hole out of the ground and put a railway there. Bridge, formerly a station. Unusual. This one's quite photogenic. One of the things we kind of had a bit of a little fling with, you know, in the sort of 1800s was turning them into castles. just chuck in some, fancy brickwork.
Add a couple of turrets here and there.
Yeah. Nice skinny little branch line there.
Yeah.
The kind of thing that would be fun to model.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hope that track never shifts going in there.
Oh, hey, that one there.
No, that last one where that train was real tight. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you can't take bogey wagons through that. That'll be a 2-axle vehicle. Wagons that go under there. There's what we nicknamed the Silver Bullet train, going over the this bridge separates Devon and Cornwall. And Cornwall, according to legend, if you ever remember King Arthur, Lord Cornwall was, the rival to Uther, the father of Arthur.
Yeah, King Arthur, I never really knew him. He's a little bit before my time.
Just a couple.
Yeah, I thought if eBay would remember it would be Johnny, but I knew I did.
Now this one's just outside of Plymouth. Went over that, so the line goes down there and goes through over that Brunel suspension bridge. The amusing thing about it is that line goes down a long way, but it's only about 65 miles an hour maximum across the entire line. That's the maximum speed. But as soon as they get on the other side of the bridge, on the Devon side, it's like 80 miles an hour for 10 minutes.
You say that like that's slow. The maximum speed, like pretty much everywhere in the country in the United States, is 65. So I mean, that's high speed rail for us.
Yeah, it's interesting to think of it in that way, because I do, and I'm sure you probably do, equate it to your own system. So obviously in Europe, being a smaller country, freight has barely anything compared to passenger trains, because people live in close distances to each other, so transporting people by train is much quicker than by air. I mean, even if I went to somewhere like Paris, it would be, from London to Paris, it would be quicker to take a train through the Channel Tunnel, because by the time you get to the airport and check in 2 hours early and put your baggage through and all that kind of stuff, and then get off the plane and get in a taxi, pick up your luggage and get a taxi or a bus or whatever and get to the hotel. Well, you might as well have got the train and walk down the street. So this is way back. This will be the 1960s by the look of the cars.
I was going to say.
And it's amazing how many railway bridges had this Ferodo on it.
All right, here's one for you, Dave.
Yep.
Andrew Gilmore down in Australia said there's a bridge in UK where the river goes over the bridge.
Yeah, actually, there's a railway line very close to me that's like that. It's a canal. It's an aqueduct. It's over here. Trying to remember where it is. Around here somewhere.
Yeah, Marty noticed the advertising on one of the bridges that you showed a picture of for brake line, brake pads.
Yeah. Yeah, here we go. There's a canal bridge. And there's another one a bit further down. But, yeah. And like I say, some very, very tall bridges. That looks like Yorkshire. And a railway station under a bridge. That's nothing more than a little halt. A lot have been turned into industrial units under the archways.
I'd have to say that might be a little shaky business there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know when there's a train coming.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
don't keep anything delicate on the shelves.
It's definitely not a China shop.
Now, I like this kind of thing. I think it'd be great to model this. And the reason why I like it is because you got the buildings that are lower down. You know, if you look, you can see the buildings are really low down, but they're taller than the bridge.
Yeah,
So what's holding you back?
Well, you know, not the kind of area I'm modeling.
No.
A lot of inner London type stuff. A lot of the railway is raised up in inner London. That's Newcastle again. Not sure what this is. Looks like it was something one time. This is part of the North London line. I was thinking about doing something similar to this for a diorama, you know, something that I can photograph models on.
Yeah.
I think this is Leeds. This is generally what my around the corner from where my layout will be based on. It's around the corner from Newcastle, actually. It's on the edge of it. Interesting how it's on an angle. So it's not a flat bridge going across, it's going up. It's just outside of Cardiff. Double viaducts. London is just sprawling with viaducts and bridges and
Yeah.
everywhere you go. And then you got something just simple like this. Quite beautiful, really.
Yep.
Over a canal. Because the history, I don't know what the history of America was when it came to canals. I don't know, did you have many?
No, not too many.
We, somewhere like where I live, Manchester, where it was all cotton mills. And at first they used the water wheels because, you know, if you mill cotton in a damp atmosphere, you get a tighter weave and it keeps the dust down. So they built the mills here because of the rain. And they would use the water, you know, coming down the hills in the rivers to, you know, water wheels to power the machinery. And then steam engines came along, and they started to be able to move them further out, but they needed to move the goods around. And so they built the canals for that, which was better than dirty, road tracks between towns and city. And then, and then the railways came along just a few years later, really, and took over. So the canals ended up being unused for a very long time. And then starting about the 50s and 60s, people started to use them again for, tourist type stuff.
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, kind of catch up on questions here a little bit. Jerry, no, he doesn't live in London. He's outside of London, Dave is.
I'm about 150, 160 miles north.
Yeah. And Andrew, down Australia, said that he once lived on top floor of the Paddington Railroad Station.
Wow. That would be a busy road. Yeah.
Michael wanted to know, is there much graffiti on the rail cars there as there is in the U.S.?
We get them on some freight cars, and sometimes on passenger trains as well, but they quickly, clean them off. But no, not as much. In fact, the weirdest thing, I went to visit a friend in the Netherlands, and I was taken back when I was traveling by seeing graffiti in a different language. And I know that sounds weird, but I'd always thought of it as an American-British kind of thing, And so seeing, fantastically painted lettering and graffiti, and to be honest, it was on everything. The overhead wire masts, people would scratch something on that. Yeah. Another one on an incline. You can see how the bricks are flat there. So this is going up.
Yeah.
You can see you certainly get graffiti. Not so much on the trains, but there you go, a bit of graffiti on there. In inner city London, anywhere you can get, climb on, you'll find graffiti.
Well, it's kind of interesting. It looks like in London, all the trains are well above ground until they get out in the countryside.
Yeah, I mean, really, it's the biggest problem with London, of course, is that it was already a big city already.
Yeah.
And so they had to build on top of it to be able to put the railways or dig underneath, which is what the tube trains are, the London Underground. I have to say, there's a funny thing, speaking about London Underground. When I was a kid, I watched a TV show, and it wasn't until probably the early to mid 2000s that I realized that Los Angeles didn't have a subway system. Because when I watched the A-Team and I saw these men promptly escaped into the Los Angeles Underground, I thought they were talking about a subway system because I assumed London Underground, yeah. Los Angeles Underground. So this is Barmouth Bridge, which is up in Wales. It's on the Plywelly line. Which is
Andrew said a lot of the modern trains are painted with a Teflon type paint, make it easier to clean them.
Yeah, they use 2-pack with the coating. But that's this bridge here, and you can see it's long. There's the start of the bridge.
Well, guys, I'm going to call it a night, okay?
All right, Jim. Yeah. We're kind of coming up on the witching hour anyway.
Yeah.
One other thing that might be interesting there, if you notice, the sewage system is pumped over.
Oh.
That's very common here. I don't know what it's like in America.
Yeah, we buried it in the ground.
Yeah, usually if it crosses a bridge, it's going to just let the gravity take it.
Wintertime.
Yeah.
So anything in the northern climes would be underground. Or insulated pipe with heating element around it.
Yeah.
This is up in the Highlands of Scotland, or heading out to them at least.
Yeah, CPR train said railroads in the UK are fantastic examples of engineering.
Mm-hmm. Often overly engineered, but they stand the testament of time, I suppose, as well. Now that's our equivalent of an SD42.
I don't know, it's just hard for me to get used to a double-ended locomotive.
Mm-hmm.
Almost all of them are here.
Yeah.
There you go. I like that. That's a bit different. Modern industrial unit under a viaduct.
Yeah.
Railroad made some money on that.
Yep.
It's amazing how many different styles of bridges there are.
Yeah. One of the fascinating early ones was Brunel's main line from London to Bristol and South Wales, and it was the first bridge to go over a river diagonally. Until then, all bridges went across at a 90-degree angle, and it was like, why did they have to do that? You know, and then you ended up with things like this, where it's curving over the. This will be the Settlement Carlisle line. This is one of the most photogenic lines in the UK.
Yeah, but don't you know those stone masons, once they got done with that, they must have retired.
Well, an awful lot of them didn't get off the mountain.
Yeah.
Navies called. The life expectancy was somewhat limited.
Yeah.
It was good paid work, but it was hard work and sometimes lethal. Now, there's a bit of line where it would have been 4-track at one time and then has been doubled as the railways contracted. People bought motor cars and stopped travelling on trains. And now more people are travelling on trains because motor cars are all clogged up, all over the place. Again, frequently, just little fancy work like this.
Yeah.
Now, in the north, outside, in fact, all over really, outside of the cities, you can just go down to dig a hole in the ground and dig up some stone. I'm exaggerating slightly, but effectively in the north, the houses and the walls and the bridges made out of stone. Whereas other parts of the country where where you've got brick areas more likely, then this is a swing bridge just outside of Leicester, not Leicester, Lincoln, and you can see there's the mechanism for it to swing sideways.
Yeah.
These are in the days when the canal bridges needed to get people in, but that hasn't been used in probably 70 years. This is a more modern bridge. I say modern bridge, probably the 30s. That's a little wooden abutments in it.
Yeah.
That'll be Ipswich Docks, I suspect. All closed now. That's that one, Carlisle line again. Charter train. You can tell charter trains because you've got those people hanging out the window. That's the North London line over the West Coast Main Line. That's the bridge separated just to the east of Newport. So Newport Station's just over there. And this is heading towards England. That's Jarrow. There's a petroleum terminal.
Well, I tell you what, as much as I like to keep looking at these, we're going to have to wind this one up.
Yep.
Tell you what, if you guys want to, next week, why don't we take a look at train yards? Give you a heads up there, Dave.
Train yards. Huh?
Yeah. I know you got a few pictures there, don't you, Bob?
Just a few. Mostly at
North Platte.
Well, a little bit of that. And some Northtown yard pictures of in Twin Cities. But other than that, not a whole lot from Omaha area.
Yeah. All right.
I forgot to mention that the last photo I showed is the Tay Bridge, and there was a famous crash there where basically a part of the bridge fell in and the train fell in the water and people died. It was a big railway disaster in the UK.
Oh. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you liked the geography lesson there, Jerry. All right, we'll go ahead and wind this one on up for the night. Next week, we'll see about talking about yards. Seem like bridges and yards is what everybody likes to put on their layouts anyway. Figure we do a little talking about it. Yeah, let me get back over here. So, with that said, go to YouTubeMileBuilders.com. There you can find the schedules for all our shows that we have. Tuesday and Wednesday shows are at 8 o'clock Central, 9 o'clock Eastern Time. Thursday show is at 9 o'clock Central, 10 o'clock Eastern. Also, we got April 4th coming up. That's Arduino. Should be doing Dave's fast clock. Start build that or build it complete. I'm not sure what he's doing. We just finished up a DCC++. That turned out to be a good show. Everybody seemed to enjoy that. Then April the 10th, we've got the fine scale build with Andy, Ralph, and Miles. Those are always good shows too. And with that said, I want to say have a good weekend and a happy Easter, because it's Easter weekend, so don't eat too many chocolate bunnies or take any wooden Easter eggs. Y'all have a good night. We'll see you next week. All right, bye.
Night, John.